First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, and salutation to Ayakim on the highways and byways, teaching his work sincerely and faithfully. The title of the video is The Thief in the Night, The Lord shall come as a thief in the night. People, literally, this is serious. Like, he literally is going to come as a thief in the night. There's going to be a whole blackout. Jake is going to be... Esau's going to... No, everybody, Babylonians in general. Right, all the nations that are in Babylon, everybody been drunk off the wine of the fornication of Babylon. Everybody who comes here, who lives here, they have no clue what's about to take place in a couple of months, or Lord's willing, in a couple of months. So I'm gonna play this video. Let's read. This is from Fox News, published April 1st, 2023 at 9 a.m. Dennis Quad documentary. Grid down, power up, explore dangers of sudden electric grid failure. You guys should watch that video. Just type in grid down, power up, go to the page, and you'll see an hour video. It explains in the documentary how America is actually its electricity is controlled by China, Moab, and Russia. They're saying like they can shut it down at any time. They can hack the American system at any time, and it's like they left their bread. They let a snare for thee. America think they have allies because they trading goods all the time. No, it's not. China ain't messing with you. They can make all the refrigerator. They can make all the computers you want for you. They ain't your friend. Everybody's getting tired of this place. I'm gonna play the video. Okay.
Visit your New England Chevy dealer.
Actor Dennis Quaid has done it all. From dramas to comedies, you've seen him in classics like The Right Stuff, Any Given Sunday. He even played Jerry Lee Lewis.
To Miami for his brother's funeral, and he had chartered a plane, King Air.
Grid going down.
Heat, gas for our cars, transportation for food restocking. All of it relies to some extent on electricity. But no one likes to focus on what could happen if it all suddenly is taken away.
Star of the upcoming Amazon film On a Wing and a Prayer, Dennis Quaid joins me now. So people have tried to take out our energy grid. There was some sort of attack with weapons many years ago in California.
There's been several attacks on substations. I heard about one a couple of months ago. And this is not day after tomorrow, by the way. This is tomorrow, I think. It could happen. And it's a problem that we can fix. It's basically this. In 2003.
What's the scripture say? Babylon, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. The Lord isn't going to heal this place. The infrastructure is terrible. Electric grid is terrible. There's a pothole on every street.
Right here in New York, there was a wire that brushed up against a tree limb, and it took out the electricity for New York for 2 days. That was just a small little event, but at a GMT event, like a bad actor could take out through a Chinese balloon for all we know,
so they could have put a little something on that balloon, exploded it over the United States, and we lose power for how long?
Well, it could be up to like 30 days. But what we're talking about is a like a
30 days. So imagine that 30 days of no power. Yo, Jake, Esau, everybody's gonna be killed. This is the purge. This is what Esau these movies been pushing at. You know, Esau's been talking about. You know, if you see Esau how he makes these movies, he's always puts signs in these movies. Man, The Purge, Forever Purge, First Purge. They made like 5 Purge movies. And he's talking about a power. If a grid goes on, he said it could be like for like about 30 days. 30 days of destruction is coming. 30 days.
nuclear explosion up in
If the grid went down, it'll be 30 days of destruction. Because people are going to be wild.
space. A nuclear explosion in the atmosphere above the United States could unleash a burst of invisible electrical energy that within a fraction of a second could wash over this country and overload all of our most sensitive electronic devices, including the nation's power grid. Just 30 days without electricity would take us back to 1880, and you wouldn't be able to get gas, you wouldn't be able to get food. You know, the police would stay home, take care of their own families. We'd be
And you can't even survive 3 days without water, and it would affect the water system as well.
Yes, exactly. We keep talking about it, but nothing ever gets done.
Again, the question I'd ask, we've taken it seriously, what have we actually done other than literally admire the problem?
There are plans for hurricanes, there are plans for snowstorms, there are plans for earthquakes. There is no plan for a cyber attack that would be infinitely longer in duration and more widespread than any of those natural disasters.
Energy companies don't want to pay for it. The utilities companies don't want to pay for it. It's something that we could put in our budget over time, and we get about $50 billion of a $5 trillion budget that we have. But over time, this is something that if it does happen, it's going to make the COVID look like a kid's show.
Wow. I mean,
COVID looked like a kid's show. So like the lockdown was one thing, right? But no electricity, you know, no food, no water, no nothing. During the heat of the summer, burning, you're sweating. Like they're talking about the dollar's gonna crash in July. The new digital system's coming out. They're talking about 18, you know, they're talking about banks, you know, and the dollar's gonna collapse. They keep saying it, you know. And if this does happen in July, right? There's gonna be no AC is gonna be working, right? Everybody's gonna be on edge, sweating, no food. Yeah, everybody's not gonna know what to do. You know, everybody's gonna be panicking. They're gonna be looking for the profits. Ain't gonna be no profits. You're gonna have, it's gonna be chaotic.
I mean, $50 billion, we send that to Ukraine in about a week.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be that much to do. You also have this coming out on a wing and a prayer.
I've got an emergency up here. My wife and daughters are on this plane.
I need you to stop a plane crash. You're the only person I know who can save them.
I don't know why they keep posting videos of
You
some
like
movies.
playing real people. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Wing and a Prayer is a true story. Doug White, who didn't know how to fly. He had one sort of discovery flight that he was scared to death of. And he took his family to Miami for his brother's funeral. And he had chartered a plane, a King Air, which is a complicated airplane, twin engine. I fly myself. And they were climbing out of the airport, and the pilot just keeled over and died right there at the yoke of a kind of a widowmaker heart attack.
Wow.
And so I've always wanted to do a movie where they go, can anybody fly the airplane? Mayday, mayday, mayday. I've got an emergency up here. I've got a unconscious pilot.
Do you find like in Hollywood you have to hide your political opinions?
Yeah. Democrats really need each other.
They do.
They really do.
They do.
I mean, we need the Democrats to kind of like pull us along the way, and they need us to kind of like go, hey, wait a minute, yeah, this Let's use some common sense here.
You said you like playing, guys. Can anybody land this plane? How would you land this plane, this country? How would you bring us down gracefully here?
I think we all have to take a breath, and I think we need to come together on some basic things. And it takes time to do that. Right now, we're so separated, more separated than, I went through the 60s, and that was, it wasn't like this. And if I knew, I guess I could be president, but I can't really tell you how to do it except to start small with your neighbors and everybody just learn to get along. Let's do something positive for this country.
You'd probably fire a few people.
Yeah, I would. But, it usually takes some kind of big thing like World War II we really got our act together when that came up.
Do you think this country's going to face that type of situation if the grid goes down?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We'll be back to tribal law by that time. That's what it'll come to.
Can I follow Dennis Quaid if we go into tribes?
You're with me and I'm with you, buddy.
All right.
I'll stick with you.
Thank you very much. More of the upcoming Amazon film, On a Wing and a Prayer, Dennis Quaid.
Transportation for food.
But Dennis Quaid's now done something that nobody...
All right. So you heard him, like, it could be a 30-day. In it, Quaid explains how the U.S. power grid is often overlooked in terms of its sensitivity and importance to daily life. And if you watch his documentary that he made, he posted to Grid Down, Power Up, or Power Up, Grid Down, or whatever it's called, but let me just be accurate. Grid Down, Power Up, that's what it's called, right? In the documentary, he's saying that Russia and China are already infiltrated the grid. So they should explain why they won't put money into it, right? Heat, gas for our car, transportation for food, restocking, all of it relies to some extent on electricity. But no one likes to focus on what could happen if it all suddenly is taken away, he said in his narration. So people are unaware that if this grid goes down, he's saying for 30 days, that's a whole month. A whole month. Jacob Trump, man, the Lord. And Esau can extend it, say, hey, but no one's looking at this. No one has seen the writing on the wall or the elephant in the room, or they just oblivious, All these Americans on TikTok, all these Americans, Babylonians, Salaki. All these Babylonians gonna be caught off guard. They're gonna be at the mall when this happened. They're gonna be overseas. People are gonna be in cruise ships. People are gonna be on planes. People are gonna be somewhere they're not supposed to be, right? It's gonna be unaware and they're gonna be caught out there. They're gonna be on an island, Caribbean island. Sorry, the flight to New York City is not available. I don't know. There's an audio machine at the airport. Probably gonna be attention flyers. You won't be able to go back to San Francisco. The power just went out on the grid of the United States of America. You know that there's gonna be stuff going down. People are gonna be visiting different states. Jake loves going to Miami. Jake loves Miami, Florida. Jake loves brochuring. Jake loves traveling. But there's gonna be no time. Jake had no clue what's coming. Jake wanna play. Every Babylonian wants to play. College. These heathens, Elam, Edom, Moab. These heathens love college. Jake love partying. No one's worried about this. Everybody's worrying about these heathens. Jake too, want to try to build up, get a business degree, a bachelor, master's degree, studying for being a doctor, 6 years. Right now, there's someone in a university, have no clue that none of that is gonna matter Lord's willing this year, Lord's willing, in a couple months, Lord's willing, that then it's not gonna matter what degree you got. It doesn't matter if you got a master's degree in algebra, geometry. It's not gonna matter if you have your doctor's degree. It's not gonna matter when you have What else is out there that people try to do? A quantum physicist, theoretical physicist, and all this astrology, astronomy, and intergalactic, galaxy looking for, and it's not gonna matter, right? All is gonna matter is how to survive, and none of them are gonna have the slightest inch on how to do it. Because they've been too busy. Jake been too busy trying to write down rap lyrics for like 4 years. Heathens are. But these heathens, they be looking at the signs more than looking at America go down more than anybody else. Jake ain't worried. But I want to get this. This is what's gonna happen. If 30 days, he said. 2 Ezra, chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Right? Woe to the world, death and destruction, for the sword and their destruction draws nigh. One people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Why do they feel the need to fight? We're gonna go down and see why. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. Right? They're gonna invade one another. 30 days, no power. So where's that food at? Where's that food? People are really. Where's the water bottles? My children are hungry. Where's this? Where's that? What's? I know that dumb broad put me on child support. Where is she? There's going to be a lot of hell taking place. Invading one another. They shall not regard their king nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. I'm going to have Joe Biden. Everybody stay in your houses. Stay in your houses, everyone. Everything's going to be all right. Just give it a day. And the power's going to be on a couple of days. The power ain't coming back on. Power ain't coming back. He's lying to you. Deceived and the deceiver are his, the Most High said. He's deceiving you. They the Most High, the Most High is going to be, you can use Joe Biden to do this, Lord's willing this year. Deceived and the deceiver. People are going to listen to Joe Biden, right? A couple of days are going to pass by them saying like, yeah, this is. Yeah, this guy doesn't, he's lying. 2 days go by. No, 1 day. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. A whole week, 2 weeks. Everybody's wondering what's going on. Why ain't the power still on? Why ain't this working? What's going on? And be like, they should have watched for the signs. In the course of their action shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. There's going to be shutdowns. They're going to, not shut down, Salaki. They're going to shut down the city. You're not going to be able to go from point A to point B. You're not going to be able to go to that city, right? There's going to be roadblocks, checkpoints, martial law. Checkpoints are going to be happening. You're going to have rival gang members blocking streets off from people. A man shall, and let me go down. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Men are going to be afraid. Men who think they're, the toughest man on the planet is going to catch them off guard. Jake with the Uzis and Glocks in the hood, want to shoot stuff. They're going to be the first ones dead. Because these martial arts troops are going to mow them down. A man should have. What else? The pride, because of pride. Everyone has pride. Jake has a little bit of money. What he does, he goes on Snapchat, he goes on social media, he puts a whole block of cash to his ear. Eve's on the internet talking shit because she wears a bunch of powdered makeup with giant eyelashes, running her mouth because of pride. Esau, he's the epitome. He thinks he got technology and he been ruling from America, never lose. Everybody got pride. Everyone in America is prideful. America can never lose. Eve thinks I'm a bad bitch. Jake thinks he's the realest nigga ever. They're all gonna suffer. These heathen thinks they're above everybody, especially Moab, Elam. They think they're above Jake. All this pride. Look what's gonna happen. Men shall be afraid. All these heathens, right? A lot of these heathens are just preppy students that go to college and university. They never really went through it. They've been, they never went through no pain or suffering, right? Sure, some of them suffered in their own home country, but they never endured. They never, you know what I mean? They don't have that edge. They're gonna be afraid. Jake's gonna be afraid. All them hoodlums, But I'm going to go to 19, verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their house with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. People are going to be getting killed. They're going to rob them, spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Remember what he said, 30 days. So this is possible. This could happen. This is possible a whole week. So just imagine 30 days, you know? All right. You know, I'm going to let me get this article. A cyber Pearl Harbor, how China built in a backdoor threat that could take down the U.S. power grid. Take down the U.S. electric power grid. See, people think this is just a game. Like, Jake is a toast. Jake's brain is like a toaster. Jake has no clue. You know, these heathens, they have no clue. They think because they go to this Harvard University and Yale and UMass, they think they're gonna make it. You know, we're gonna see.
Who are the leaders that changed the world? They're the students who toiled and labored but persevered. They dared to go further and kept dreaming bigger. Unleash the leader in you. Say yes to your impact. Regent University.
Substations like this one are in almost every city nationwide. Most house transformers, which are a huge part of getting power out to you. The larger they are, the more critical.
Transformers have been called by many people the Achilles heel of the electric grid.
Transformers take voltage sent by power plants and convert it to a level that can be distributed. Essentially, they keep electricity flowing at safe levels. While the U.S. electric grid consists of thousands of them, the high voltage carriers make up less than 3%. Even so, they're responsible for transporting 60 to 70% of our electricity.
These are 500-ton, 20 feet tall, multi-million-dollar machines.
They're also custom-made in China. And experts like Joe Weiss say while the U.S. is busy securing its networks, China has the ability and opportunity to sabotage the equipment we rely on them to manufacture, essentially creating a backdoor into our electric grid.
What they have is the ability today, they have their finger on that trigger today, that they can take over that transformer and everything that transformer supplies coming in or going in. This is a very big deal.
Weiss, an engineer and independent consultant, says this is no hypothetical warning. The U.S. has already discovered backdoor electronics in a Chinese-made transformer. It was that discovery that led then-President Trump to sign an
And not only that, if you look it up, Moab is going through the Texas border. They're getting tired of America. They've been sabotaged. People don't even know that. People don't even notice that Moab is into the electric grid. You know, the Chinese, you know, it's funny. America's dumb. Why are you buying stuff from the people who don't even like you? What sense does that make? Custom-made transformers who get that controls your entire electric grid. Let me go buy it from the enemy. You know? Edom drooling. You know, these heathens don't mess with you, Edom. Babylon. They're getting tired of it. Man. They have no clue what's about to take place. Lord's willing this summer. No, none of these Babylonians. They're too busy in their own folly.
Executive order in May of 2020 banning the acquisition, importation, transfer, or installation of any bulk power systems from foreign adversaries. The discovery also led to something that's never happened before.
The next large transformer from China that arrived at the port of Houston was intercepted by the U.S. Department of Energy and taken to the Sandia National Laboratory. Remember, this is a 500-ton, multi-million-dollar machine. So there was a utility missing.
Llewellyn King is a journalist who's been covering the energy field for decades. When he approached the Department of Energy about the missing transformer, he was met with a veil of silence.
No comment is to be very much a comment. It says there's smoke and there must be fire.
So not only do our domestic utilities not know what's being found. Our closest allies, who also have Chinese-made transformers, do not know what has been found.
There are more than 200 of these large Chinese transformers in our electric grid today. One accounts for 10% of the power going to New York City. Another supplies 18 to 20% of the power going to Las Vegas. And yet, the U.S. is focused on our cyber networks, something China has already proven it can bypass.
Instead of trying to hack all of these networks and everything else to try to get in, all they did was put in some hardware that will allow them to send signals. So instead of sending a voltage signal that's coming from a voltage sensor in that transformer, they can send a signal from Beijing into that piece of equipment.
In February of 2021, an Arctic blast froze 40% of Texas's electric grid. Millions of homes and businesses were left without power. The outages lasted only days, and yet more than 100 people died. Back in 2012, then Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta warned a room full of business leaders about the scope of a true attack on the U.S. grid.
The collective result of these kinds of attacks could be a cyber Pearl Harbor, an attack that would cause physical destruction and the loss of life, an attack that would paralyze and shock the nation and create a new profound sense of vulnerability.
Weiss says the question is not if this kind of attack will happen, but rather, will we even know it was a cyber attack?
What a sophisticated attacker will do, and Russia and China, even Iran and North Korea now fit in this, they will make a cyber attack look like an equipment malfunction.
He points to Stuxnet, the U.S. cyber attack that took out a fifth of Iran's nuclear centrifuges.
For a year, an entire year, the centrifuges were being destroyed. The people inside could hear those centrifuges screaming. They never even thought that cyber was the problem. They simply viewed it as a systemic design flaw.
Experts like Weiss stress that our critical infrastructure is made up of engineering equipment, and it will take a partnership between engineers and cybersecurity defenders to truly protect it.
Our workforce is not trained to address this. The people that understand the equipment have no training in cybersecurity. The people who understand cybersecurity are not trained to understand how an electric grid or a pipeline or anything else works.
This backdoor threat from our adversaries applies to all of our critical infrastructure, not just the grid.
Much of that same equipment is used in all other industries. So it's a weak spot for the electric industry. It's just as much a weak spot for every other industry.
The parts that make up this critical infrastructure are also old, and as we've seen in Texas, susceptible to extreme weather events. So whether it's malicious or unintentional, if these systems go down, it will be months, if not years, before we get...
So, whether it be intentional or not, the Lord is done with this. This place is finished, man. America's been wicked, pushing wicked philosophy, pushing wicked laws, and unrighteous decrees. The Lord put in the spirit of these other nations to sabotage the American electric grid. The Lord causing all those tempests and storms because of this wicked country. All of this is coming up. Esau is going through it. Edom, in Europe, right? Them nations in Europe, them NATO members, are also got electric transformers from China. Now, if they want to activate on them, they can. These countries have no clue. No, not these countries, but of course these leaders know. They know they've been infiltrated. They're allowing it. Because Esau needs to order out a chaos scenario. So he got Moab, the hitman Moab, to cause this for the people, so they have no choice but to surrender to the MOTB. Forcing people to give up their rights to get the chip, the MO, It's all a plan. The elites, the bankers, they bought up all these nations, and it's just a board game to them. It's just, You know, there's no such thing as a good, you know, they created a bad guy and good guy scenario. You know, China's working for them. So they're pushing that, China infiltrated everybody. They're shutting down the power grid. What are you going to do? You know, what the Rothschild say? It was Xi Jinping or whatever, right? Shut down the electric grid to the United States for 30 days. You know? We want to starve out the Americans so we can get the NWO in order so they can get the MOTB. So it's like, think about it, like we can starve them out, you know. You know, it's like this is how these devils plotting, and you know, Moab, yes. You know, Moab just goes along to get along. Moab don't never rebel. Moab is the most pacifist people. No, they just, you know, them damn demons. They sneak dissing though. But Jake, yeah, these men. And you look at this, the dollar. You gotta deal with now. You gotta deal with this dollar, right? You know, but we gotta warn the people, right? You know, Jake wanna do folly. You know, we wipe their blood off our hands. We warn them. Now let me read Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 18. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood shall I require at thine hand. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. And again, when a righteous man does turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because thou hast given him warning. He shall die in his sin. His righteousness, which he has done, shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at thine hand. So people, nor from his wicked he shall die in his iniquity, but thou shalt deliver thy soul. So people, we're delivering ourselves. We're wiping our blood, their blood off our hands. Like we warned you, especially the apostles, the elders. You know, they warned you for. It wasn't even, you know, like they warned you for most of their life. They warned you, so there's no excuse. The Lord's gonna show up all the years you passed by a camp, and how many years they've been out. The Lord's gonna show you 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. You walking by them every single day of them years. 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20. So Jake, you ain't got no excuse. You ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing. No gimmick. You ain't got nothing. You know, Jake's gonna be pop locking into the missiles. You know, Jake don't repent. You know. But now look at this. This is new. This is just. It came out April 26th. On the street, Elon Musk says the fate of the U.S. dollar is sealed. For many weeks, speculation has been circulating about the decline. Let me just play the video. Let me just read this. For many weeks, speculation has been circulating about the decline of the dollar, the currency the world trades since the end of the Second World War.
There have been several factors involved, but the primary driver has been the Federal Reserve move away from accommodation well ahead of the European Central Bank. Or ECB, and the Bank of Japan. Now there are signs that the ECB may move next. Seeing U.S. consumer price inflation soar over 8%, the Fed is
Salaki, I'm just gonna
commenced raising rates and soon will start shrinking its balance sheet. Federal fund futures currently suggest a very rapid pace.
I'm sorry from the beginning.
There have been several factors involved, but the primary driver has been the Federal Reserve move away from accommodation well ahead of the European Central Bank, or ECB, and the Bank of Japan. Now there are signs the ECB may move next. Seeing U.S. consumer price inflation soar over 8%, the Fed has commenced raising rates and soon will start shrinking its balance sheet. Federal fund futures currently suggest a very rapid pace of rate hikes in 2022, ending up around 3 to 3.5% in the first half of 2023, at which time the Fed may take a pause. Euro area inflation is now over 7%. Yet the ECB still has its short-term target deposit rate at a negative 0.5%. Recently, several ECB board members have indicated they are ready to raise the target rate to 0. That's a small move relative to what the Fed is planning, yet getting back to 0 is a first step toward responding to the elevated inflation environment. Japan inflation is running only about 1%, but signs are now pointing that more inflation might be coming. For now, the Bank of Japan remains committed to near-term 0 rates across the maturity spectrum. The Bank of Japan controls both short-term rates and actively has a yield curve control policy to influence the Japanese government 10-year bond yield. This is reflected in a large gap opening up among the 10-year yields, with the U.S. the highest, German government bonds in the middle, and Japan bringing up the rear. While inflation is driving the policy shifts at these central banks, the currency moves will be a cause for discussion. The challenge for the Bank of Japan, as it may develop for the ECB, is how much currency depreciation to tolerate. So far, the Bank of Japan is happy to stay put on the near 0 rates policy and accept currency depreciation, while other central banks facing higher inflation start to make their moves.
These rumors are fed by various articles, starting with headlines saying that Russia is now considering using China's yuan for its global trade, and talk followed that Saudi Arabia, a major U.S. ally, was considering charging yuan for its oil exports to China. Things accelerated. France was reportedly considering buying gas from China with yuan, while Brazil and Beijing were considering no longer using the U.S. dollar in their bilateral trade relations. The avalanche of rumors about the demise of the U.S. dollar was such that some headlines said that the BRIC countries, an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and South Africa, were considering developing a new reserve currency, while India was in the process of settling some trades in rupees. All this news had a common theme: the de-dollarization of the world. The de-dollarization of the world economic stage was underway. The greenback had lost or was in the process of losing its place as the top choice in world trade and finance. This theme suggested it was circulating mostly among conservatives and critics of the policies of President Joe Biden administration. The death of the U.S. dollar on a global stage was inevitable, they predicted. So America, it's inevitable. They keep making it seem like a scenario, like this is all hypothetical. Like, I hate when they're predicted, or they saying this could happen because of what Russia said. They saying that there's no say. The Lord says it. It's gonna happen. It's only a matter of time. You know, it's matter of when. You know, and it's gonna happen. America's talking about. They're saying it like it's just some type of theory, some type of like urban legend, some fable that people just made up. Like, you know, America's finished. Babylon is finished. You know, Esau had his run. Now them blackouts about to hit, and Jake is about to get shot. You know, there's gonna be a lot of deaths happening. A lot of people gonna get mowed down. Jake has no home training. Esau ain't gonna deal with it when the martial law troops come. They're just gonna shoot at them. Jake is gonna get killed in the streets, and that's what's gonna happen. Jake's gonna get killed in the street, women ravaged, The independent queens are gonna be out there getting ravaged and children ravaged with, a lot of sick stuff is gonna be coming, right? There's gonna be a bunch of Jeffrey Dahmers, right? All these Edomites who've been, you think that you think your neighbor, Joe, your neighbor Todd, your neighbor Todd, he's right there next door. You think he's your friend, and really he wants to kill you and eat your body. This is serious. This is Edom we're talking about. Nothing. I wouldn't put it past them. Right? And this is what's coming. Just imagine 30 days. I'm gonna get one more scripture. Jeremiah 30:6. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hand on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. They're gonna have grown men crying, right? Grown men. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Every single purge movie, they always hired the Klan or neo-Nazis or these white supremacist groups. And every when there's not enough death happening or they need something done, they get these they get the white supremacists, and these, guess what's gonna happen? A lot of white supremacists are gonna start killing a lot of Jakes, and Jake is dumb. Jake ain't paying attention to none of that. Jake is full of folly, full of dumb foolishness. Esau's gonna come down with great wrath. He knows he has but a short time. 30. Just imagine that, Lord's willing, this happens this year. I hope this video, a lot of people are gonna be dying. Lord's willing, the Lord keeps His hedge about us, keeps protecting us through these tough times that's gonna be ahead of us. And I hope this video was edifying. And with that, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honor to the Elders Great Millstone, and salutation to all Yakim on the highs and byways. Till next time, I say Shalom.